Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our first of four webinars in a series for maximized growth. My name is Tasha Carter, and I am delighted to be here with you today. Today, we are going to be doing a preview of one of our courses that we're offering for our summer leadership school. This particular course is how to improve your communication or how to become more effective as a communicator. And again, today we are doing a sneak peek into a little bit of what that course entails. So, welcome, welcome, welcome. If you can hear me okay, if you would do me a favor and just put in the chat um, that you can hear me, that you can see me okay. And also tell me your name and where you're listening or watching from, what position you, whether it's your business or organization that you're with, because I'd love to see who's in the room with us today. But again, thank you all so much for joining us. Again, my name is Tasha Carter. I'm with Maximize Growth, and today we're doing a sneak peek of how to become a more effective communicator. The topic that we're going to talk about today is your most effective message is the one that you live. Thank you so much, Mr. Morris Williams from Holly Pond High School. Thank you for joining today. And again, if you're on here and you can hear me, you can see me, let me know that you're watching with us because I'd love to engage with you in the chat. So, again, today we're going to do a sneak peek of how to become a more effective communicator. And the topic today is your most effective message is the one that you live. So, just to give you a little backstory of who I am, again, I'm the owner of Maximized Growth LLC. I've been a full time entrepreneur now for 20 years, but I've been in this space with Maximized Growth for the last 10 years. And we specialize in leadership development, effective communication, team unity, and we do this through speaking, training, coaching, and courses. Some of you all have actually taken some of our courses, whether it's been live or on demand, before, and we've built up a reputation to really help individuals, to help leaders, whether it's educational leaders, whether it's working for a nonprofit, for profit, for an agency. But we've built a reputation of really helping people to become more self aware of themselves so they can make a greater impact with their audiences. And again, we've been doing this for 10 years and we've been certified under the John Maxwell team at the executive level. And I have to tell y'all, this is something, this particular topic is near and dear to my heart because at the end of the day, if there's one thing I know, we all have room for improvement when it comes to communication. Do you agree with me? We could all improve when it comes to communication. So why is this topic so important now? It's because at the end of the day, communication really, when we think about it, should be connected to connection. Communication and connecting. And we want to make sure that as we're standing in front of people, whether it's an audience of one, whether it's a room that we're teaching, a platform like this, or on a stage, that we're doing it from a place of authenticity. There's power in authenticity. And let me talk about some of the reasons why. Because when we're authentic as leaders, we get to connect with people on a deeper level, actually. We get to connect with them on a deeper level. And when we're connecting on a deeper level with people, guess what? It builds trust with your audience. It helps you to become magnetic. It helps people to want to lean in, and it makes them want to hear you. Another reason why the power of authenticity is so good is because y'all, it inspires people to action. And there's one thing that I know. When it comes to leadership and communication, we can't make people do anything, can we? The only thing that we can do is inspire them to action. And a lot of times, it's not what we say to them. They want to know, how are we doing this? And when we're authentic, when we're sharing, we're literally communicating from the overflow of what's been working for us because we're doing it. We're not just saying, do as I say, not as I do. Our audiences understand that we practice what we preach. And that's something that's very inspiring because how many of you all have been sitting in an audience and you've heard somebody speak and immediately you're like, I want to be better. I want to do better. Anybody? Anybody. And that's important for us to inspire people action to action. Another reason why this is so powerful is because it builds credibility. When we're living our message, we're having a genuine commitment to our values and our principles. And that builds credibility because in this day and time, in this society that we live in, how many of y'all know credibility is everything? Right? And so that's one of the reasons why we want to become more effective in our communication, because whether it's a personal setting or whether it's a professional setting, we want to make sure that we're building credibility with those that we're connecting with. Another reason why the power of authenticity is so good is because it helps us to create a lasting impact. Actions speak louder than words. When we're living our message, and that's what we're talking about today, that your message is the most powerful, your life is the most powerful message ever. You're building a legacy. And that transcends through conversations that you have with people, as well as presentations that you're giving to audiences. And again, I just wanted to talk about why this message is important, because at the end of the day, the power lies in your authenticity. So let me ask y'all a question. Let me ask you a question. How many of you all, if I told you that the key to let me say this again, the key to your most effective message already lies within you? Do you believe me? Let me just see in the chat. Do you believe me? The key to your most effective message already lies within you. Just let me hear if I'm talking to the right people today. Put a yes in the comments. Do you believe that the key to your most effective message already lies within you? Nikita says, I believe that. Thank you, Nikita. Yeah, yeah. Tashina says, yes. Candace says, yes. It's already in you. So, one of the things I want you to know is when we're talking about your most effective message is the one that you live, you have to know that it's not going to be an outside in thing. Do you know your very life, your very journey has prepared you for where you are right now? Whatever job you have, whatever platform you have, wherever you are in this world on this journey, you've been prepared all along. Your very life is a toolkit. And that's something that I discovered when I came into this space 10 years ago. In fact, how it really actually started was I told you I had another business. I've been a full time entrepreneur for 20 years, and I had a court reporting business at that time. But in the midst of that court reporting business, I'll just say this: life happened. And I'll just leave it right there. Life happened. There were some challenges that I had to face, there were some challenges that I had to overcome. And one of the outlets for me during that time is I actually took acting classes. And this was a byproduct of me doing acting at the church. I was on the drama team at church. And I discovered this, y'all, by accident, what I'm about to share with you. So I took these acting classes and I went to a workshop in Atlanta, Georgia. Tasha Smith, she's a famous actress here, and she was conducting the workshop. It was a 2 day workshop. And one of the things that she talked about to the participants was how our life can be a toolkit for what we need. And she said that a lot of times the most effective, the most powerful actors are those who actually can tap into their own life and take a story and learn how to think and see through that character's eyes. And so that helps the audience to connect better because that actor or that actress was connected. Right. And some of y'all right now are probably thinking about movies that you watch, actresses or actors that you see, and you're like, every time you see them, there's something about their performance that just brings you in. Anybody have anybody that you're thinking of right now? They just bring you in. And a lot of times it's because that person is connected through their own personal story. And that's why, y'all, your most effective message is already in you, because there's things that you've learned. There's life lessons, there's failures that have come along the way. That if you were to literally take all of that, and instead of trying to talk in a place where you're worried about how do I sound, but you're more focused on connecting with people because of the things that you've already been able to accomplish or overcome, guess what, y'all? Then what I'm telling you today is that there, instead of going wider, this is a matter of going deeper. What is it about you? What is it about your life, about your journey that you can literally tap into that and turn that around and make that your most effective message? No, again, whether you're talking to one person or whether you're talking in a staff meeting, whether you're talking to a classroom or whether you're talking to an audience. All right. So I laid the foundation for why we're doing this today. And this preview, what we're going to talk about is two main points: who you are and credibility. That's the first point. And the other point is reasons why people should listen to you. How many of you all feel like, sometimes when you're talking, you feel like you have this thought in your head like, am I making sense? Are they listening to me? Are they following me? Again, I love interaction. So let me know if this is you. When you're talking to people, you have this constant thought in your head like, am I making sense? Are people talking? Are they leaning in? Are they getting what I'm saying? Anybody? And while I'm waiting on you to respond, I see here that Dr. Christine Hill Hall says, I believe that God placed everything we need to prosper is in us. Um, Morris Williams says, yes, I believe that. I see you, Yacob Price. I see you. I see your hand raised. Let me tell y'all, I've had a lot of people talk to me about, wanting to improve in their speaking and all of that. And one of the things that I constantly hear is, how do I conquer fear? How do I overcome my nerves? How do I overcome the negative self talk? All of these things, right? And I'm here to tell you today that in order to be an effective speaker, in order to own the fact that your most effective message is the one that you live, you have to learn how to not try to get rid of fear, but how to leverage fear. Just like you leverage your toolkit, your life stories, you have to learn how to take all of it, y'all, every last bit of it, and learn how to not just focus so much on, am I making sense? Can they hear me? Things like that. But what I want you to focus on is being credible. And again, this is about who you are more than anything. And so that's what we're going to dig in today. I hear the feedback here saying always trying to read facial expressions and nonverbal cues. And I assume you're saying while you're talking. Tashina Lee says sometimes. Morris Williams says sometimes, many times it seems like it's ignored. I understand. I understand. So, again, one of the things that I want to always make sure that you are aware of is communication and connecting. And at the end of the day, it's not so much about how I sound, how I look. We want to get rid of all of that and we want to focus on who are we and building credibility and connection with people. So, what I want to talk about right now is qualities of a credible communicator. There's qualities, and at the core of this, at the very core of this, it's about integrity, your integrity. And when we focus on building ourselves and building our integrity, it's about who are we becoming at the end of the day. Who are we becoming? Not just when we're on, but who are we when we're not on? Because again, when you focus on this inside out, what I'm talking about, guess what? When you do get in front of the crowd, the audience, the person, whoever that looks like, you're not going to have to feel like you're turning on a switch where now I've got to be on. No, this is going to be consistent. It's consistent. This is like the new normal for your life is consistent. And when I talk about integrity, I think about honesty. I think about having strong moral principles. I think about consistently aligning our actions with our values and beliefs. When you can really get to know who you are on the inside, that helps build your personal brand as a communicator. Then at the end of the day, you could talk to somebody in the grocery store, you could talk to them in a meeting and know the difference between when you're connecting with them and when you're not connected because of who you are on the inside. And I hope I'm making sense to y'all today. But at the end of the day, it's about the integrity that you have to build your brand as a strong communicator. And it's not something that you turn off and on, it's about who you are. There's a strong connection between personal identity and effective communication. Let me take another poll here before I dig into the qualities of a credible communicator. You ever been in someone's presence and you can tell that there's just an uncertainty that they have about themselves, and it almost makes you nervous, right? It's like you're in an audience, for example, and somebody comes on and they says, "Oh my gosh, I'm so nervous." They're already drawing attention to that, right? You don't want to be the kind of person where you draw attention to those feelings. Your focus is on connection. Period. Period. So let's dig into qualities of a credible communicator. Number one, being transparent. And what do I mean by that? Being transparent, it's about the honesty and openness that allows you to build trust with your audience. Now, when I say be transparent, I don't believe that you have to go around saying to people, "Oh, I'm nervous," or "Oh, I'm so afraid," or "How do I look?" Because again, all those things are drawing attention to you. When I talk about being transparent, a lot of times it can be in the content. You know, that's why we got to go back to our toolkit of our life stories. Because one of the things that you're going to do with your audience is you're going to talk with them, not at them. So, being transparent, one example could be starting with a story. How many of you all love good stories? How many of y'all really love, being able to connect with somebody and you feel like when they share, you know, something as simple as, "This is who I am, this is my background, this is where I've been, and this is my connection to the material of what I'm talking about," and being transparent to share the journey. Now, you don't have to put all your business out there. That's not wise. But there's certain things that you're talking about that people need to understand your why, and they need to understand your connection, so it gives you greater credibility to connect with them. So be transparent. Um, and how is that important to you? When you're sitting in an audience, is that important to you to have a speaker who is connected to you and being transparent about their background and not just saying, "Oh, this is something I read in a book," but "This is who I am, this is why I'm doing this, and this is how this impacts me." I'll give you an example. For me, when it comes to being an effective communicator, I'll be honest, I'm an introvert. I'm an introvert, but my role requires me to be out front. It requires me to be with audiences. And so, one of the things that I do, this is an example of me being transparent, is I will always, yes, start with examples of who I am and what I do. But sometimes I will weave stories into my message just so I can let the audience know I get you. You're not alone in this. And then what that does is it also opens up the door for them to ask questions of me, right? So that's one of the first one. The second one is be consistent. Reliability and predictability reinforces trustworthiness. So what are some examples of being consistent? Being consistent can be, this is a good one right here. A lot of times people think when it comes to effective communication and speaking that it's always about just being on the stage. I'm going to give you a great example. One time I went to Washington, D.C., and I went to this conference and I was sitting in the audience and there was this couple on the stage. And y'all, they were amazing. No lie, they were absolutely amazing. So then the next day, I get ready to fly back home and I see the same couple in the airport. And what do you think I did? I went up to them and I wanted to just let them know how they impacted me. And do you know that when I went to them, they actually looked at me like, leave me alone. Like I had dirt on my face or something. That's just a small example, y'all. But when I say be consistent, don't be on the stage and be so great to people, or in the meeting and you're so great to people, but then you are inconsistent when it comes to when it's time for you to have one-on-ones with people, or when people meet you. And again, this goes back to integrity. It goes back to who you are. When you're consistent, guess what? People should be able to say, you know what, that person that I heard, they were the same on the stage as they were in the grocery store. Now, I'm not saying that we have to always stop what we're doing to, you can't be all things, because there's times where you're, doing this or that, you're shopping or whatever, but a smile doesn't hurt anybody. A thank you doesn't hurt anybody. Are y'all following what I'm saying? So be consistent means just be consistent in who you are. I love that Dr. Hall says this: genuine. Genuine, right? So that when it's time for you to be in front of them, guess what? They can trust what you're saying. Are y'all following me? So that's number two, be consistent. The next one is, we're talking about qualities of credible communicator, is be a good example. Lead by example inspires others to follow. Now, this might work for you, like if you're working in an office, and maybe you have to lead meetings and you're telling the team, these are some things that I need y'all to do. Well, at the end of the day, they want to know, are you doing it too? you know be an example. Again, these are things that can help you build credibility with people, so when you do have to be in front of them, they can trust what you're saying. you know One of the things that I talk about in my leadership trainings is the 5 levels of leadership, and one of the levels of leadership talks about production. That's level 3. And in this level, people follow you because of what they see you doing. They see you rolling up your sleeves. They see you practicing what you preach. And so, this is what makes a communicator effective, because they're leading by example. And again, this inspires other people to follow, it inspires other people to action. Number 4 in being a credible communicator is be competent. Now, there's some people that are really good at communication, like winging it is no problem whatsoever. Like you can talk to anybody, you can talk to a brick wall, But at the end of the day, being competent means that we're always going to be students of our craft. We're always going to take the time to learn. We're constantly reading. Like you see my bookshelf behind me. I love to read, y'all. When people talk to me, I think in book titles. you know, I love to read. I love to pour into myself, because what I don't want to do is stand in front of people, and especially my company is called Maximized Growth. I don't want to stand in front of people and talk to them about growth, and I'm not doing the work to grow. I'm not pouring into myself. I'm not listening to things, or it could be a podcast, but be a forever student of your craft. Be competent, and there's going to be times where there's certain personalities where your expertise and your knowledge is going to command respect. It will. Just because you take the time out yourself to hone in on your craft. And here's the thing. Natural talent is amazing. It is. Natural talent is really, really good. But we don't want to be the kind of communicators where we're just relying on natural talent alone. And I've been guilty of this. So that's why I can speak into this. You know, Winging it will only take you so far. But there's more to your growth. There's more to your effectiveness. So be competent. And I love here Mr. Morris Williams is saying, trust is hard built and easily lost. Leaders eat last. And that's actually a good book, too. The next one in being a credible communicator is be trustworthy. I can't stress this enough. Integrity, integrity, integrity. That is the foundation of your credibility. So if you want people to connect with you, if you want them to be inspired by you, don't just tell them, live it. Don't just tell them, live it. Because y'all know communication is not just verbal communication, it's also the nonverbals. It's, I said this already, it's what are you doing when nobody's looking? When I first started Maximize Growth, this literally came as a result. People ask me all the time, how did you get started in this industry? And I'm going to be honest. When I remember I told you at the beginning, life happened. So when I had my court reporting business, I actually, when life was happening, I reached outside of myself and I got a counselor who just so happened to be a life coach as well. So for 6 months, I worked with this counselor slash life coach, and she helped me to she basically introduced me to myself. Let me just say it like that. She helped me to do the internal work of who am I, and not just what I do, but who am I. She helped me to also stop playing the blame game. She helped me to dig deeper into my purpose. In fact, it was as a result of those sessions with her that halfway through those sessions, I felt alive and I told her, I want to pay this forward to others. And that's where she then began to coach me on what does that look like. She began to coach me on writing a blog at first. That was me communicating. Then she coached me to write a book. That was me communicating all these different touch points. And one of the things that she always taught me, and she taught me about the authenticity as a communicator, is that she said, Tasha, when you stand in front of people, you're going to be able to do it from a place of authenticity because you are willing to do the work on yourself. There's a lot of things about my story that I don't share because it's not necessary. But there are a lot of things that I do share because I do want to connect with my audience. And me doing this work that I'm talking to you about today has opened doors for me that, again, it was all a matter of me having the integrity to do the internal work before I could stand in front of you and tell you anything. Does that make sense? So let me go back through these just real quick on being qualities of a credible communicator. One, like I said, be transparent. Two was be consistent. Three was be a good example. Four was to be competent. And five was to be trustworthy. Now, let me ask you just a quick poll here because I want to make sure you're tracking with me. Which one of those qualities of a credible communicator actually stood out to you? Anyone want to put in the chat? Which one of those actually stood out to you that you say, you know what? That one right there, that's the one that I gravitate to the most, or that's the one that I will work on when I leave here. In the chat, would love to hear or read which one of those gravitated to you the most out of the 5 qualities of a credible communicator. And I'm going to read those again: being transparent, being consistent, being a good example, being competent, and being trustworthy. I love here that Nikita McLean says being trustworthy. Dr. Hall says being competent, forever learner. Candace says being competent. Yeah, yeah. Tashina says being a good example. Love it. Love it. And here's the thing, we don't, there's certain things that you're doing really well. Keep doing them. Keep doing them. But if you want to grow, find the one area that you say, that's the area that I want to lean in the most and grow in. Morris Williams says integrity and trustworthy, to me, they're essentially the same. Okay. And then Tiffany says being competent. Awesome. 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 So, again, this is really about, at the end of the day, understanding that you are the most important message that people will ever read, right there. So now I want to move to the next topic in this, and that is why people listen to you. You know, I talked about Dr. Maxwell, he has the 5 levels of leadership. And real quick, I'll just go through those. The first one is your position. That means that people follow you because they have to. And then permission. That's where you earn the right to lead people. The next one is production. I talked about that one already. And then people development, and then the pinnacle level. But did you know that when it comes to you being a communicator, there's levels to this as well? There's levels to your growth. And I'm going to just go through these because at the end of the day, we don't want to have the kind of entitlement mentality where we think, oh, I'm in the room, so people should listen to me. Nope. Just because they got in the room doesn't mean that they have to. But the very first level of why people listen to you, it's probably because, let's say, you're in an office setting and you have a team meeting. They have to be there because it's mandatory, right? Or let's say there's something that they want to learn, and because of something that you have promoted or whatever, they have to be there, because they want to get to their next level. And they listen because in order for them to move the needle, so to speak, it's required. But we don't want to be the kind of communicators where people only listen to us because they have to, because then we're not really connecting with them, are we? We're just really, in some instances, just spouting out information. I had one organization that reached out to me and they asked me to come and motivate their employees. And I thought about that and I asked for a meeting with the powers that be. And I asked them a question. I said, let me ask you. I said, if I come to talk to them, chances are they're going to be there because they have to be, right? What are you going to do after I leave? Because they'll be motivated maybe for 5, 10 minutes, if that. But what happens after the fact? And I want to be the kind of communicator where I don't want to just be there because, people have to listen to me. I want to get to the next level and grow where people want to. They want to listen to me because maybe there's something that I have said or done or lived that inspires them. And on this level, this next level of communication, people listen because they are inspired by you. You have earned the right to be received by them. Are y'all following me? So we want to move to the levels of not just being a people have to hear me, but getting to the place where we say people want to listen to me. What some of the greatest compliments I get, because I do a lot of trainings for different organizations, and some of the no, I'm gonna tell you about one compliment I got recently. This was one where I've been working with this organization for a little over a year. And just this month, this particular person said, he said, I used to think these were a waste of time. That's that people have to level, right? He had to show up. But then he said the other day, literally, he said, I actually like these meetings and I actually see the value in them. Now, here's the thing, please know that this is a process. Some people, they will be instantly connected to you, and some people, you have to earn the right for them to receive you. Am I helping anybody out so far? That's where you have to understand who you are, why you're doing what you're doing, and understand the power of your impact. And then the next level up is people like to listen to you. So we go from have to want to like to. And this on this level, they like to listen to you because you've done the work of being a competent, credible communicator. You've put in the work, you've prepared, and they listen to you because you're good. Now, everybody has a day one and a page one, right? And no judgment, everybody has to start somewhere. And that's why I said there's room for improvement for all of us. I've got both hands raised. But at this point, people, when they listen to you because you're good, that's where you know your preparation has paid off. That's where you know the years and the time, the months, the days that you've poured into yourself, you know it's paid off. And this kind of stuff that I'm talking about, it takes practice. It takes practice, it takes repetition, it takes being in environments where you get feedback and people listen to you because you're good, because you put in the work to be good. And then the next one is people seek to listen to you. Now, this is crucial if you are the kind of person where you want to make speaking your business, or you want to be a professional speaker where you're getting paid for it. This is crucial right here, because people listen to you on this level because you add value to their lives. This is where I've built my business, where a lot of my business comes from word of mouth. Some of you on the other side of this, you have businesses or you have careers where you are sought after. And a lot of times it's because of the value that you add to people. At the end of the day, my friends, we are in the people business. No matter what industry you represent, sitting on the other side of this, you are in the people business. And people, they seek you out. They will seek you out. They will come find you. They will either call you or text you or send you an email, because they're seeking you out because of the value that you add to them. You help people want to grow, you inspire them. There's people right now that you're seeking out because of this very point that I'm making today. And the next one is people are eager to listen to you. This goes back to integrity and trustworthiness. People listen to you on this level because of who you are. And what did I say at the very beginning of this? Your most effective message is the one that you live. It's the one that you live. This is the ultimate compliment of a communicator. Not only are they eager to listen to you, but if I had to add another one, they will leave your presence and take action. And one of the things that I'm always talking about is 1% improvement. I don't want to be the kind of effective communicator where all I'm doing is getting people excited and riled up and they're like emotional in the moment. I want to be the kind of communicator where people will listen and they're taking notes, whether it's mental or on their phone or tablet or whatever, and they're able to walk away and say, I went and applied what you taught me. Are y'all following me? So let me go back through those again on 5 reasons why people listen to you. People listen to you because they have to, because they want to, because they like to listen to you because you've done the work to get good. They seek to listen because you add value to their lives, or they're eager to listen because you help them to grow. All right, same poll that I asked you before. Which one of those really resonated with you when it comes to why people listen? Were you reminded of anything? Did anything actually stand out to you? Or is there one particular one that you say, you know what? That's the level that I need to work on. I want to get from just people just being in the room because they have to, and I want to move to the next one. And if we do this right, I'm not saying that you need to jump to 5 immediately, but what I am saying is locate yourself. Locate yourself and then get to a place where you say, okay, how can I improve on this level that I'm at? And if you get to the place where you're saying, you know what, I'm already there, Tasha, I'm already at the 5, then guess what? You still have a responsibility to pay it forward to others. Help someone else. This is why your most effective message is the one that you live. Help someone else get to their next level. This thing doesn't ever stop. There's no arrival point. This is literally about growth. So either you're growing yourself and you're helping people, or you're growing and you've reached the place where you say, you know what, now I really need to turn around and help other people get to their level. And I love these honest answers that are coming in here. Thank y'all so much for this engagement today. Thank you. So, again, today I wanted to just come to you and just really share a sneak peek of the whole course of how to become an effective communicator. We are really launching a summer school for leaders, where we're really helping people to dig into their leadership development. So, this is one course, how to become an effective communicator. And what you heard from me today was just a snippet. It was just a snippet. So let me set this up to let you know how we're going to do this. But before I do that, let me take a pause and just ask, does anyone have any questions? Any questions from what I just shared today? Any questions? Because I shared who you are and your credibility, and I talked about reasons why people listen to you. But does anyone have any particular questions? And while I'm waiting on that, I'm going to read some of these. Um, I love here. Miss Larissa says, being a good example. Tashina says, eager to listen. Candace said, people like to listen. I love number 5. Tiffany says, like to listen. Dr. Christine Hall says, seeking to listen because I want to add value to my students and colleagues as I continue my own journey. Yeah, that's where it's at right there, because at the end of the day, we want to be able to make an impact from the overflow of how we're working on ourselves, but we want to pour into others. And that's how we continue to grow. Morris Williams says, I want to improve my skills so I can attain goals in my life. Love it, love it. And how many of y'all know this particular skill, communication? It's a soft skill that if we can learn to grow and improve in this area, it will open doors for you. It's not a matter of if, it's when. And so this communication, even though it's something, if I were to go to any organization, any team, any group, and if I were to ask, where do y'all need to improve? How many of y'all know communication would probably be the number one thing? People are looking for effective communicators. They are looking for credible communicators. And so I want to spend some time now talking about how I can help, how Maximize Growth can help with this. And so, just to summarize the takeaways, there's a big link between your personal identity and your credibility. If we do the work to become credible communicators, guess what? It'll not just help us, it'll help our companies, it'll help our schools, it'll help our communities. Hey, it'll even help our families, because this can transcend into our personal world as well. And when we understand why people are listening to us, we get to understand the impact that we have to add value to people. Because what did I say? At the end of the day, regardless of what industry you're in, we're in the people business. And we have to make sure that we are doing the work to connect, because there's already a lot of disconnection out here, y'all. Candace says, I agree. Dr. Hall says, especially in this digital age, not to be misinterpreted or misquoted. Yeah, that's a whole conversation that we're going to have in the course, Dr. Hall, because communication now, we're competing with text, social media, emails, and we got to be able to know how to communicate on each of those platforms, right? Um, Mr. Williams says, please explain easily how to log into the classes. Dummy proof. I had signed up for 2 this summer. Awesome. So if you've already signed up, my team and I are diligently working to go ahead and send out the emails, because we use a platform called Thinkific, where you're going to get a username and a password. And we haven't sent out those emails yet, but we will be sending those out in this next week, where you will be able to, and it'll have specific instructions where you'll be able to log in, and you will have a dashboard. In this dashboard, we'll have all the instructions on how to connect. The way that we're going to do these classes is we're going to do them live on Zoom, and we will be sending out the syllabus and the training schedules for each one of them. And every week when we get together, this particular one is going to be on Tuesday evenings, and it's going to be from 5 o'clock to 6 p.m. Central Time. It's going to be on Zoom for the hour. And what you'll get from this is you'll get me moderating or facilitating our discussion, and you will also get a digital workbook. Now, the book that we're using is from Dr. John Maxwell's 16 Undeniable Laws of Communication. I ask that you purchase the book on your own because some people like to listen to Audible, some people like the Kindle version, some people like the hard copy. So you can get the book on your own, but we will be providing you with a PDF workbook that you can actually use. And every week when we get together, we're going to uncover some laws on communication. For those of you all who are wondering, how do you sign up for this? In the comments, my assistant, she's actually putting the link on how to register. And each of these classes, let me just kind of put this graphic up here. Each of these classes that we're going over, the first one is the 16 Laws of Undeniable Communication. That's the resource, how to become an effective communicator, as I'm trying to talk. The next one is developing the leader within. And then we're going to be talking about high road leadership and chasing failure. Today was the first series of webinars where I'm coming in and I'm wanting to introduce, to give you an opportunity to see my facilitation style, but to also give you just a snippet of the course. This is not the whole course, but this just helps you to understand where we're going and growing with this course. Morris Williams says, I did the 16 laws and leader within. Awesome. Thank you, sir. Dr. Hall says, is there any type of PLU awarded for this or maybe even a certificate of completion? Dr. Hall, for 16 Laws of Undeniable Communication and for Developing the Leader Within, you will, if you're an educator within Alabama, you will get a PLU credit. Those two courses have been approved by the Alabama Council for Leadership Development. And so, for all the educators, those two courses, you will get a PLU credit at the completion of the course. We don't have the approval yet for high road leadership or for chasing failure, though we're working on adding to our PLU approvals, but those first two are. Any other questions? Any other questions? And again, the link, if you want to sign up and read more about each of the courses, is going to be in the link is going to be in there, or you can use this QR code. But at the end of the day, one of the things that I want to commend you on is just showing up today, just to learn more about this. And this goes back to being credible, taking the time out of your busy schedule to add to your growth journey. If you have any other questions, feel free to reach out to me. My email address is Tasha at maximizedgrowth llc.com, and I'm putting it in the chat here if you have any specific questions. But each of these courses will start in June. 16 Laws of Communication and Developing the Leader Within, those are 8-week courses. The High Road Leadership and the Chasing Failure, those are 6-week courses. And what I'm doing is I am blocking off my schedule this summer, starting in June, between July and between June and August, I am blocking off my schedule on Tuesday and Thursday evenings. And the block of time is going to be from 5 to 7:30. So, like I said, the first class the 16 Undeniable Laws of Communication, that will be every Tuesday from 5 to 6 p.m. Central Time on Zoom. And the other course slots are going to be 6:30 to 7:30 on Tuesday, and then I'm going to do another class 5 to 6 on Thursday, and 6:30 to 7:30. Each class is going to be one class a week for 1 hour. So if you hit that link, you'll be able to see the descriptions and you'll be able to see the times, and I also have some frequently asked questions as well. So the next webinar that I'm doing is going to be on this Saturday. And that's going to be a sneak preview into the course, Develop the Leader Within. And so my assistant is going to put that link in there if you want to just come to that webinar similar to this platform and just get a sneak peek of what that course actually looks like. That'll be on this Saturday at 9 o'clock a.m. Central Time. And I don't see any other questions in here, but again, I put my email address in there if you have any specific questions. And I want to thank y'all so much for being on this with us. Again, we just wanted to offer you some kind of preview so that you can see where we're going with our Summer Leadership Development School. So thank y'all so much. And I applaud you for taking time to grow yourself. Again, email me with any questions, and we look forward to seeing you all either on the next webinar or in summer school. Y'all have a great one. Bye.